If your Ford truck did not come with upfitter switches, this is a solution for you. Check it out. This little box that I've got tucked right up into the fender well here actually provides the truck with a solution that mimics upfitter switch bundle that you can get factory. Now, on this particular truck, it does have a factory Ford upfitter switch bundle right here up under this box that I can tie a circuit into if I want to, but it actually is advantageous for me to have this box in conjunction with the factory box or working independently if I wanted to. Think of it like this. On these 12-volt circuits, controlling lights, would it really hurt if there was two inputs? This one's wireless and it goes on my key ring and allows me to turn on a circuit by just pressing the remote. Sometimes I got to press it twice because the system needs to kind of wake up, so I've got to press it twice. But with this remote, I can control 12-volt circuits that I could also in turn control a similar circuit with the upfitter switches, where if I'm in the truck and want to hit that switch, it'll work. Or if I'm outside of the truck, I could use this, or I could just handle any other circuit, key off, key on, any type of situation with this box via this wireless remote. The nice thing about this is if I didn't have any upfitter switches at all from the factory, which sometimes happens, it's not common, but a lot of times when guys have these trucks without the upfitter switches, they just want to modify it and get the factory upfitter switches installed. The downside to installing the factory upfitter switches is just the cost in doing so. If you didn't get those switches installed from the factory, it's probably going to cost over $1,000 in parts, maybe $1,200 in parts in order to get these switches. But with this remote, you've essentially got the switches. Now, there is a downside to using this compared to the upfitter switches, meaning like every once in a while you got to put batteries in this remote. The range isn't super good, but it's okay. But you don't get the same amperage that you get on the factory Ford upfitter switch system. Like this system has got some 40 volt circuits, some 20, I'm not 40 volt, 40 amp, some 40 amp circuits, some 20 amp circuits. So you can have more amperage overall with this system. But for most of us, we are just trying to wire in lights. You don't need that much amperage in order to power some lights. So real good solution if you just want to run some lights or some lower amperage, maybe 15 amps. I got to look at what the specifications are. Check out the specs over at stl.com for this, how much amperage can you run on this. But what I've done is I've put this on here on the truck. I've also put the relay back there because this comes with a momentary button, which is another positive compared to just the factory upfitter switches. My F circuit is the momentary circuit, so you can hear it clicking. What I've done is I've modified this so that I can have a momentary ground instead of a momentary hot. So this provides me with momentary hot because STL, their flush mount lights are momentary hot to change your pattern. But the limitless system that I installed on this truck that strobes everything in the front is a momentary ground. So I turned the momentary hot, or I tied the momentary hot into a relay that completed a circuit for a momentary ground, so that when I press my momentary F, that momentary hot trips the relay and gives me a momentary ground, so that I'm one of the few people with a limitless system on their trucks that can actually change the pattern in real time. So I can change my pattern anytime that I want, or anytime that the lights are on. And my second circuit is my steady burn for my limitless lights. So I've got the ability to change the pattern. I believe, can I change the pattern of the steady burn? No, that's set in stone. But on this circuit, I can just freely change the pattern of the lights. Now, that's really why I got it. So this box itself is like under $90 for the whole deal. You get the remote, you get the wiring, and it fits so good right here by this hood hinge. So if you're thinking about, fixing something to your truck, consider this spot right by the hood hinge. It just worked out to be just like a perfect fit. And I just turned around and just zip tied mine in place. Maybe did I put some tape on it too? I actually taped my relay to my STL box so it could be right there if I ever need to service it for some reason. And all my wires and stuff, they're just tucked down here. I could pull these out if I wanted to add a circuit or anything like that. I think, yep, there we go. I got a little bundle. If I want to add a 12-volt circuit to this truck, I don't gotta really go too crazy and start wiring the upfitter switch box and all that stuff and start digging and removing stuff. I've got my circuits here. I've got 3 more circuits that I could tie in another 12-volt accessory to, as long as it's within the amperage that I want to be into. There's some type of module here. I don't know what that is. There's another module on a side note, but very good setup. Now there's another spot where you could potentially hide something like that. That STL box could have very easily, just as easily, went on this side. I believe all the limitless stuff is on the other side, so that's why I ultimately chose this side, right on the same side as the factory upfitter switches. The limitless stuff is designed to kind of be plug and play and work with that factory upfitter switch bundle. So I just went ahead and put this one on this side so that I could also tap into that same circuit. The truck doesn't care, the limitless system doesn't care if there's 2 12-volt circuits. They're all connected ultimately at the end of the day to the same battery, so it doesn't hurt to have both switched or have the ability to power the system on from the remote wirelessly or from the truck if I just want to use the upfitter switch inside of the truck. Either way, or if for some reason I just took it off of the upfitter switch on the truck, if I needed that switch for something else and somehow needed all the other switches for something else, I could turn around and have all of the upfitter switches going to other things that maybe need more power and just save those circuits for that, and still have a few circuits that are just designed for strobing lights. I mean, that's really what it's for. The STL stuff, it's just perfectly set up, and the amperage and everything is set up for strobing lights. Now, looking at this truck, our 23 350 single rear wheel. Let's take a quick glance at the whole deal. Single rear wheel, very nice truck. Just got some Duratrax on it, some 35s. But looking at this, I got another solution from STL, while the other one had a cost of around $90 or so for its solution. This one is about $40-50, and it gives you basically the same thing as the wireless remote, but it's a box that goes inside of the truck, and it fits real good down in this cubby, right down in the lower side of the XL trucks where they don't have the center console, and it's just got the bench seat. It fits right there, and it allows you to, again, have circuits that you can turn on your lighting. Same thing as upfitter switch. Now, if you wanted to not purchase upfitter switches, you're one of the people that needs to add it to a truck for some reason they didn't have it, this is going to be way cheaper, and it's going to perform pretty much just as good. The bigger circuit, say you needed a 40 amp circuit, you're not going to want to run your 40-50 amp circuits through here, but you can tie this button into a relay that's going to be adequately sized and can carry that load, like an air compressor or something like that. You're not going to want to run that on here, but it's probably something that could run on an upfitter switch that's fused accordingly. You'd want to go ahead and build that circuit directly off the battery and relay it in so that it won't overload, but could still be a upfitter switch controlled, a lower amperage circuit that controls a higher amperage circuit. That's kind of the difference, is where this will run the power through it, where the upfitter switches, they control a relay that will carry the heavier amperages. So you could buy like a relay box, like say you wanted to have upfitter switches on the truck that were more higher amperage, similar to what the Ford upfitter switches are, like 20 amps or 40 amps. You can buy like a relay box off Amazon that would allow you to use this lower voltage to trip a bigger relay, and then leave that relay box on the hood if you really wanted to have the same capabilities as, you know, as far as voltages or not voltages, but amperages are concerned, because everything's going to be 12 volt. But as far as having higher amperages running through it, this is really geared to running strobing lights, these STL solutions. But check them out. I've been using this stuff for a while from STL, and I'm really liking their boxes, their switch boxes, the wireless one and the wired one. My favorite's the wireless one from the practicality of it, just having a small little button. If you wanted to leave this in the truck, you could, instead of having, you know, something permanently attached. I did double side tape this thing, like glued it down with some 3M, so it's not really moving ever again. But it's been good, but this is ultimately better, and I like having the ability to momentarily pause it so that it can change patterns, where most of these installs with the STL or with the Limitless or any type of flush mount light, they kind of leave you hanging with the ability to change patterns. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to show you some solutions for wiring Upfitter switches if your truck didn't have it, or if it does have it, you're just looking for a little bit more capability, especially when it comes to the momentary pause ability. But anyway, my name is Sean. This is DS Trucks. See you in the next video. Over and out.